Hello again, everyone. Melth here, with more of my Baldur's Gate 3 challenge run. Details of which in the YouTube video description. Watch out for spoilers throughout this run. This should be a very exciting session as I take the fight to the Hags, one of my favorite Act 1 bosses, which is quite challenging and quite interesting. Also, I'll be hitting level 6, which is going to be strategically interesting too. If you aren't interested in strategy, I'll provide some timestamps so you can skip ahead after my level ups and shopping spree is done. In terms of what to buy, I've wanted these boots of genial striding for a little while now. Difficult terrain is not everywhere, but it is fairly common and fairly important when it comes up. So being able to have someone like Bhaalista or Astarion, whose position matters quite a lot, ignore that, is situational but quite good. Likewise, the Psychic Spark, I don't really have any imminent plans to use, but Magic Missile Display can really optimize pretty hard in this game, and it can be valuable, so I want to have the option at least. These are good for getting Elixirs of Heroism, which I said before are really great to have in en masse for the later game powerful summons you can get. And this Scroll of Stinking Cloud, I'm not normally that fond of Stinking Cloud, but I think in this party, I have ways to make enemies bad at Constitution saving throws, and this one is a Constitution saving throw based disable spell, so that's decent for that reason. I want to try it at least.
Just leave me, I said.
No matter how unfriendly Dareth seems to be, she'll actually be just fine with her business.
Touch me. You're just like him. Everyone is, in the end. Just go. Just leave me, I said. You've done enough damage already.
So more heroism stuff. Smoke Platter Bombs have kind of gotten past their heyday because we aren't fighting any more goblins, but they are still pretty good damage dealer when there are clusters of enemies. Better than most level 2 spells at least. And good for breaking down this one obstacle that's coming up in later Act 1 stuff. Most merchants and people have left the Emerald Grove at this point. They finally have a druid on patrol at their front gate, which they should have had all along given how much they didn't like having outsiders coming in. Having tieflings in charge of the gate was a strange choice given that. Tusk is here, for some reason, still endlessly complaining about how he doesn't have a mate and wants Halcyon to find one for him.
The boar prances around, haunches clenching and unclenching impatiently.
Where's Halcyon?
Don't be a Halcyon hog. Halcyon has better things to do. Go on your own fetch quest to find someone to pork. Over here, for some reason, the tieflings left all their stuff behind, and I guess we can just take it. I feel like that's kind of an oversight by the designers, most likely. I can't imagine they're meant to have left all their weapons and whatnot here in character. Aaron is pretty much always the worst merchant. I might buy a few of the rarer types of magic arrows from him, but that's about it right now. Now this is an exciting level up for Bhaalista. As I've said before, contrary to what one might expect, you don't get feats at every 4th overall character level, but at every 4th class level. So this is the first feat for Bhaalista, given that he has only 2 levels in Warlock and 4 levels now in Bard. Of course, as I said before, I think the best feat in the game is Alert for almost every character, basically. Going first all the time is phenomenal. With good tactics, enemies don't get to go at all if you go before them. Cantrips barely matter, I guess Light for the utility in Act 2 at this point. Likewise, I think I already have all the best level 2 spells by and large, or have scrolls of them, but Cloud of Daggers is situationally okay at least. Now that we're level 6, merchants have some new inventory, like this Potion of Speed for Aaron. Also, now every merchant in the world has Tongue of Madness, even though it used to be inaccessible until we did the Arcane Tower quest, so kind of rubbing it in our faces that was a sort of arbitrary quest there, but whatever. This is a failsafe so you can't lock yourself out of the reward if you accidentally use up your Tongue of Madness. And then Scroll of Magic Weapon, I found to be pretty good when I had Karlach cast it on Astarion earlier, so I might try that again and just have it on both my wizards. As I mentioned before, the reason I delayed leveling up to level 6 in the first place was to get Amelim as a merchant first so I could reset his inventory by leveling up and thereby get more Void Bulbs and Spike Bulbs. He's really the only good bulk source in those things, and they're pretty good items, or at least Void Bulbs are good items. Normally Spike Bulbs are terrible, but I'm going to try to get some mileage out of them with this Buol Benediction thing this time and just see if I can make it work. They're dirt cheap either way. Imp Patagiums are an interesting alchemy ingredient. See, most alchemy ingredients cost a little bit less than 1/3 the price of their finished product that they produce. Which makes some sense economically. It comes out to be basically the same overall value, because you need to put in 3 of them, plus buy some random 4th ingredient, and there you go. But Imp Patagiums for some reason are a much better deal than Potions of Invisibility. Like, not even close. So, not sure why that is, but it's worth buying them for that reason. Hastening Spores are just the best alchemy ingredient in the game. Buy them whenever they're available. They're super rare, but always worth it. A lot of new inventory for Dareth to talk about. I would say I'm not too impressed with Oil of Bane. Bane is an okay spell, but we have many ways to inflict it. Now, if the oil at least had maybe a Constitution saving throw to resist it, that would give it maybe a niche, because regular Old Bane also has a Charisma saving throw. So at least you could maybe, if enemies have good Constitution but bad Charisma, one version would be better against them, and vice versa. But doesn't even have that. We have ways to inflict Bane with no saving throw, so not really worth using up a bonus action and your dip slot on that, I would say. Likewise, not worth your Elixir slot is Elixir of Viciousness. Now, critical hits are fun, but the amount of damage you get from increasing your critical hit rate from only on 20s to 19 to 20 is just not that good. Especially given that only impacts the damage from dice, which most classes don't really have that much of anyway. Like a Paladin or Rogue can get some mileage out of this, but most classes really can't. And even then, if you want to get criticals, the best thing to do is not try to increase your critical hit your range, but just paralyze the enemy or sleep the enemy, make them helpless so you can auto-critical them. Purple Worm Toxin may be very rare, but it's also very bad, I would say, because every poison in this game does damage at the end of the enemy's turn, which, as mentioned before, I don't really want them to have turns at all, so not useful to me. Divine Bone Shards are probably not worth buying, I would say. And Elixir of Universal Resistance might sound really good, but there's two problems with it. One of them is, of course, you can see I don't really take much damage most of the time, so having all damage is okay, but it hopefully won't come up very much. Secondly, and more importantly, these don't work like any other elixirs in the game. They don't last all day. They last only 1 minute, which is not that great, really. On the plus side, they don't supersede other elixirs, so you can have it plus some real elixir, but that's pretty situational. I'll probably just use the ones I can get in the overworld and make do with those when I can predict that I'll need to take damage rather than buy additional ones. Lots of good ingredients here. Gauth Eye Stalks are great. They make elixirs of Battle Mage's Power, which are rare but really good elixirs for the end game. Now, I would say that Karlach's level up this time is pretty straightforward. Cleric 5 gives her Destroy Undead, which might sound nice, but I'll basically never be doing Turn Undead anyway, because the alternative is used by Shadow Divinity on maxing damage of Lightning Bolt, which is just going to be better, like, all the time. I do get level 3 Cleric spells, which includes the excellent Spirit Guardians, which was phenomenal in 5e at the tabletop because it lasted 10 minutes, so you can use it in multiple fights. Here it's just 1 minute, but it's still really good when you have one big fight with many enemies that lasts for many rounds, so it's worth considering at least. The Animate Dead is also very good, but I'd say it's only good when you have level 4 spell slots, not at level 3. Level 4 spell slots give you 3 skeletons or zombies, which is a big increase, and probably worth considering, but just one of them is not necessarily that good. Ah, interesting. These two elixirs look very similar, but this one is so much better than Elixir of Dark Vision. This is the elixir you really want to have on your casters in the late game, I would say. It says it gives you plus 3 arcane acuity. In practice, it's usually more like it gives you 2 in battle, but it's still pretty good, because that's plus 2 to all spell attack rolls and spell save DC, which is amazing for any kind of serious caster. So you want to have as many of these as you can get. Now, I'm not 100% sure that these are worth buying, because elixirs of Cloud Giant Strength are pretty good for some builds. It gives you 27 strength, which gives you, a large bonus, plus 8 to hit and damage with strength-based weapons, like throws. Pretty good, but I am coming to the end of the part of the game where I do many throw attacks, because my cantrips are now becoming competitive with them, and especially with the elixirs of Battle Mage's Power to make my cantrips more accurate and things like that, I don't really need it as much anymore. I might use it a little bit longer, maybe at the beginning of Act 2, so I'll probably buy this one and see if I can get 2 more, but I'm not going to care that much if I can't get to them. Pretty rare alchemy ingredient here. I've said before that it's not easy to get many Hulk Horror Claws, but they make elixirs of Vigilance, which are really good, so buy them when you can. A few more bulbs. Quite happy to see more Scrolls of Lightning Bolt here. That's a very strong spell, as I mentioned before, for my Tempest Cleric to cast. And as I said, in Act 3 especially, there are a lot of places to use Remove Curse, either fix certain obstacles in the world, or remove dangerous conditions off your party members, so good to have access to a large stockpile of these. Now, Laezel Zel's level up is not as simple and straightforward as Karlach's, I would say. As I said before, I'm not too impressed by most of the level 3 druid spells in this game. Plant Growth is pretty good, because it doesn't take concentration, which gives it a niche compared to maybe Spike Growth, which is more often the stronger spell. But all in all, it's not that big a leap forward. This is good if you're in Wild Shape form, but I'm basically never in Wild Shape form, so that's not that great for me either. Now, I do want to get to level 7 Druid eventually, get level 4 Druid spells, which are really good, but it's not a priority for me, I would say. Now what I could do would be take maybe another level in Wizard, for example. But that would feel a little bit cheesy to me, just because I don't intend to stick with it. I'd be swapping back out of Wizard probably at some later date, and I don't really want to be doing too much of that with my build. I could, it might be optimal, but I don't want to be abusing that kind of thing. I want to stick with things that I'll mostly keep for the rest of the game, maybe just kind of reorder my class levels a little bit over the course of things. What I might want in the end game is maybe a level of Light Cleric. A lot of people can use this Warding Flare ability as a great defensive option on this kind of marathon run. Being able to, basically with no resource expenditure, just negate an incoming attack, or better yet, negate a critical, is amazing. So, having that option is something I really, really want to have. Fairy Fire is nice too. I already have it from a Druid, but it'll free up a Druid preparation slot to just have this for free from Cleric. And then, of course, you get access to the phenomenal Cleric level 1 spells, like Bless, Lesser Extent Command. This is pretty good too. Being able to have more people use their first level spell slots on Bless is a great asset for the party to have, because it's just basically the best offensive level 1 spell. Cantrip barely matters. I do want to praise all the interesting thrown weapons that exist in this game. Even if some of them, like Spike Bulbs, are not usually winners, just having a wide variety makes it interesting to choose between them, and you can find fun combinations like the ones that I'm playing around with here. So, I like that. Happy to get more Lightning Bolt, and then just kind of a lot of good alchemy ingredients, so pretty good haul from Blurg this time, I would say. Potions of Flying, I would say, are not normally that great, because in this game you can't use Fly in 3 dimensions like you could at the tabletop, so it's of limited value, but when you do want it, it can be quite useful. And you don't want at that time to use your concentration and a 3rd level spell slot on it. Better to have a potion for those situations when you need to get out of some kind of tight spot or get around an obstacle you can't just teleport past. Oil of Combustion is very situational, but sometimes quite good. It does 3d6 fire damage when you ignite someone who has the oil on them, which isn't that great. But if many enemies are all together and they all have the oil on them, they all do 3d6 damage, not just to themselves, but to each other all around, stacking up. So if there's like 5 enemies, that's 15d6 damage apiece. That's pretty good. These, I don't tend to use all that often compared to scrolls, but they do have their value and they're pretty cheap. See, the thing about Elixirs of Arcane Cultivation is that, let's say you give this one to a character who has no 3rd level spell slots left. Then spend a 3rd level spell slot with it, great. Then give them not another superior elixir, but some other Elixir of Arcane Cultivation. Now they get another spell of that level, you can cast that, then give them a second superior Elixir of Arcane Cultivation and get back a 3rd level spell slot. It won't work to give the same elixir sequentially multiple times in a row, but swapping back and forth between different elixirs, you can get some value out of that, which is good if you're really running dry in the late game of an act before you can rest, I guess. Now, as I mentioned before, Astarion's next level up will be a re-spec, because order matters with your classes in this game sometimes. But, as always for my run, whenever a re-spec, I'll make sure to use up HP and resources to go back to where I was before, so I gain nothing back from it. So it's not like a restoration.
As thou desire.
Now, I want to keep 5 levels of Ranger, but my first level should be either Fighter or Rogue, because in this game your first level determines certain benefits from some classes. It's quite arbitrary, you basically just need to look it up, but for example, if you pick a Fighter at first level, Fighters get good saving throws. They get Constitution, which is good for concentration and also certain important spell effects. Now, a Rogue gets basically the worst saving throws. Dexterity and Intelligence are not important at all compared to, Constitution or Will or things like that. But they do get 2 skills if you take them at first level, which is decent, although on a non-frontline character it's not as important, I would say. Offensively, a Rogue will give me 3.5 damage per round from sneak attack, basically, with some limitations on it. That's pretty good. But a Fighter can get me, if I take this fighting style 2-weapon fighting, my dexterity damage per round, make my offhand add my dexterity to its damage. If I have more than 4 dexterity, which I'll soon be getting, that would probably be better than sneak attack. So I might go with that for now. I won't tell you you're wrong from what Rogan said, but I think that Fighter is probably overall the best choice in this case. Don't want Strength though. What I do want now for the first time is to have an odd amount of dexterity, because I'm about to get the Hag here that gives +1 to the stat, so that will turn it from an odd number 17 to an even number 18. Then I guess 2 points of strength will be hopefully irrelevant, but it could matter for shoving someone maybe. Speaking of shoving, I'll take this so I can't get shoved around much myself, and that should be good. Now we level up Ranger to where we were before. I could take Ranger Knight for heavy armor proficiency if I didn't get it from Fighter, but I feel like keeping Keeper of the Veil is better for my challenge, where Protection from Evil and Good is a pretty good spell, and I have this rule that I can't cast spells from scrolls unless I actually have it on my class list, so for that reason I want access to that. This is probably fine. Fighting style archery, now we have 2 fighting styles, so that's pretty good. Then at 5th level we get 2nd level spells, so we definitely want Spike Growth. And then we probably also want to swap out a spell to get Silence. Now, some people question why I got rid of Hunter's Mark. Here's the reason. Basically, Hunter's Mark does about plus 1d6 damage per attack to a single target at the cost of my bonus action. Well, when is that worth it? The alternative mainly is to shoot my offhand crossbow attack instead, which does about 20 damage roughly at this level. Well, that would mean that I need about 6d6, so 600 marks, to catch up to that amount of damage. How many enemies can take 6 hits from Astarion consecutively and still be alive? It's just some bosses, basically. And not even all of those, necessarily. And especially given that I'll often have other party members also attacking the same boss. So it is very, very rare for this to be worthwhile if you have hand crossbows, which are usually just better than using Hunter's Mark plus longbows anyway. Not always better, but usually better. So that's the reason I think it's just not mathematically good to have Hunter's Mark on this build most of the time. Now, let's waste some spell slots to get back to where we were before. Throw out a Silence over there. Oh wait, I forgot that doesn't actually use one until you're in turn-based mode, because it's a ritual in this game. There we go. Then we'll throw out a Fog Cloud. And another Fog Cloud. Okay. Then we'll summon up our Familiar, which we had before. And we can apply a Long Strider to it.
Let's move.
Okay, we are almost done.
Leave me, I said. We've done enough damage already. Some more decent alchemy ingredients this time, I would say.
These boots have seen everything.
I have never seen anything like it. Is my species evolving?
Perhaps. Seems like a good moment to talk.
I greet you, son child.
Alright, more Volbs. Good to have.
Welcome back. Have you made any new discoveries?
Very happy to have a Fireball Scroll. That's a phenomenal spell. And he actually has 2 Cloud Giant Fingers. That's interesting. That means I can actually get an Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength right away if I want to. Which might be worth considering. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that after all. Now let's get our items figured out, I would say. First of all, let's do a bit of alchemy.
Can't give up now.
Happy to make more Elixirs of Bloodlust, one of my favorite elixirs in the game. Heroism is fine and fire resistance is useless, so let's go ahead with that. Watch out though, it sometimes changes what it's making the thing with in terms of ashes, so don't want to use up important things. I'll try making this Cloud Giant thing. Maybe I'll immediately, while I'm thinking about that, give that to Laezel. A whopping 27 strength. Pretty good.
At least things have stayed interesting.
Potions of speed are just the best, so I want to make as many of those as I can. I say the best. They're not as good as haste spore grenades, but man, they're really good. And antidotes are useless, so I'm happy to use those up instead. Maybe we'll wait to have some more expendable salts. Dilated Oil of Sharpness is not useless like some of these things are. Those I'm happy to have. Likewise, I'll wait on these, I think, until I have something that's a little bit better to use. Yeah, I want to give a bit of dishonorable mention to Malice, actually. For whatever reason, Malice, which is a pretty bad poison, costs much, much less than its ingredient, Lolth's Candle. So, kind of the opposite of Impetagium. Lolth's Candles are never really worth buying. I got these ones just from the field, of course.
What to do?
Well, I think I want to give these boots to Bhaalista, I would say. And let's give him the Shade Spell Circlet, because the Key of the Ancients is pretty worthless overall. Then I think on Karlach, we can give her the Boots of Stormy Clamor, because she can inflict a status with Baneful Striking and also with Ray of Frost, so we can give her a decent amount of statuses to inflict to give it lots of reverberation to the enemy. So, not amazing, but pretty good, I would say. Over here, instead of these, maybe we'll give you the boots that are good when concentrating.
Alright, what now?
Let's give Karlach the Pearl of Power temporarily and just have her use that. It's one of the best amulets in the game for just getting back free spell slots. And then we can put back on, it barely matters. We don't have that many good amulets yet. I don't know. Psychic Spark, maybe with a chance to cast a Magic Missile. It's unlikely.
I've got a long road ahead.
I guess given to have a literally empty ring slot, I might as well put on the lightning resistance ring, but it basically never comes up, so I just don't care about it.
Keep a blade close.
I might give the Menzo Baranzan hat to Laezel, I think.
Hey, good looking.
Action, not reaction.
Careful, I might.
Let's get going.
Lastly, I think I want to give the Graceful Cloth now to Astarion, I would say. And I'll put maybe the not too good Robe of Summer back on Bhaalista. Then I can have Laezel perhaps cast Mage Armor on Astarion. So we're all back at a quite good for Act 1, 19 to 20 AC. Not bad. And Astarion now has 19 dexterity, close to capping out at 20 when he gets the hag hair. That'll be very, very nice for us.
No time to rest.
With that, let's go fight the hag. Let's go deal with Gandrel over here. He's not really an enemy, but I think the hardest fight against him is now. Well, he's fairly dangerous here in Act 1. He doesn't contribute anything to fight him in Act 3 along with the rest of the Guru, I would say. Because he's grossly underleveled at that point.
Forgive the aroma.
You catch a waft of something foul, metallic, and sickly sweet.
Powdered
I think they just made up Powered Iron for this game. It doesn't really have any kind of effect, never comes up again in lore that I'm aware of, so it doesn't really matter.
You're a monster hunter. I'm surprised. I thought all Gur were vagrant cutthroats.
I think Bhaalista is surprised that Astarion is randomly racist.
Your friend has just
The Gur are kind of this itinerant ethnic group of humans, sort of like Romani or the like. Travel from place to place, and settled people often have bigoted opinions of them. Astarion, I'm not sure if he hates them only because Gur attacked him one time in Baldur's Gate, or alternatively, he says they attacked him after a ruling handed down as a magistrate. He might have already made like a bigoted ruling in the first place and then been attacked by Gur after that. Or it might have all been arranged by, Castador to begin with, who knows.
Something terrifying, no doubt. Dragon? Cyclops? Kobold?
nothing so dramatic. I'm hunting for a vampire spawn.
Boom! Not even as dramatic as a kobold, Astarion.
But I fear he's gone to ground.
Astarion really gives away a lot with his face there. I feel like he's being kind of a bad, consummate charlatan.
If I can afford her blood price.
Of course, the notion of coming to a hag for this is pretty weird too, because like, why would a hag in this region randomly know where Astarion, who could be anywhere in the world, or anywhere in the plains, be?
Not this time. My orders are to capture him.
Oh. And bring him where exactly?
Baldur's Gate. My people wait for me there.
I don't know. I'm sure a vampire spawn could still rip out your throat if he felt like it.
Are you about to say that Astarion sounds handsome too? This is some terrible disguising.
Weak when compared to their master.
But I guess he has no intel whatsoever what Astarion looks like or anything like that, so very strange.
When they hunt, you'll not find a more deadly quarry.
I don't know. Vampire Spawn have never been impressive in like most editions of D&D.
We've all survived so far. Let's focus on that.
It would still be wise to post guards at night. The threat is real.
Indeed it is. We should do something about this threat.
Bhaalista is kind of in agreement about this. Now, if you don't know the guy's a vampire, he can now, for some reason, just instant kill the guy at this point. Don't know why he can't if you do know he's a vampire. It feels very arbitrary, but oh well. Now, Laezel and Karlach will disapprove, but they'll actually talk until they approved it all along later on, so... This is a good chance to talk tactics now. Things have changed with some of our recent items and level ups. So, Gandrel is pretty formidable. He has, plus 4 dexterity, means he goes first a lot of the time, but he can't beat us if we all now have alertness or better, basically. He has extra attack, he has this thing to give him free criticals, he can walk away from you, so you can't just surround him. He's not easy to deal with, but I think we have enough damage we can take him out. Let's get our order right, though. So I think, first of all, we want to have Astarion attack so that Astarion can lower his dexterity. Let's also get, spellbook-wise, let's get Sharpshooter back onto your bar. Okay, so let us shoot with that, hopefully lower his dex for the rest of the fight. Now he has to lower armor class.
Ready for another round?
So now, next, I think we want to have Karlach apply reverberation to lower his dexterity saving throws and things like that. And this will also apply Bane to him. Or not. Okay. Well, reverberation still lowered his constitution saving throws. So now it'll be easier for Laezel to hit with... I'm glad I checked that. I wanted to check if after any level ups this got turned back on. I absolutely hate that dual wielding setting. It should not exist in the game. It can ruin you. So, glad I checked. Anyway, he now has lowered constitution saving throws, so he's weak to this attack. So let's try that. Let's also try, I don't know, let's throw the, that hammer at him.
Best interest.
Okay, now we apply that attack to him. And I guess we can still do our bonus action attack there.
Another fight. Let's go.
I don't think much we do with Bhaalista matters order-wise. We don't want to kill him at this point. Oh, I have that turned on for me too. We want to soften him up for Astarion, I would say. Because we want Astarion to get back some temporary hit points that lost those when he respect. So, we will just try to set him up for the kill now. Maybe I had better soften him up with... What are the odds of this killing? Very low. Alright. Now we'll turn that off, and then we will hopefully get the kill. Not too bad. So, they disapproved before, but now they love it. Even Karlach will say, yeah, this is a good idea to keep the group together.
Have stayed interesting.
You can pick up your weapon again. And I guess I should have Bhaalista get out of disguise and talk to this guy to find out why he was after Astarion. Bhaalista is kind of suspect of him because he's talking to a hag, and hags don't make good deals and only demand evil things in exchange, so...
The corpse regards you lifelessly.
Our children.
Now, we can't actually follow up on this, but it's true. Astarion kind of knows what happened to their children, but he won't really help them with that.
Wise woman. Questions.
I mean, there are a lot of hags in the world. I don't know why I'd go to this one when there's one outside of Baldur's Gate anyway. Maybe it just doesn't know about that one.
Creature.
Now, hags in Coven in some editions can scry, so they might be able to find Astarion that way, maybe. I don't think that really applies in 5th edition, and I don't know why, you know, he'd think that Ethel would know anything about Astarion when he doesn't even know anything about her.
Much.
He does have some good treasure, actually, we'll find, so, yeah.
You can
I do like this line, though.
Andra. Hunter.
The spell's power.
Well, let's talk to Astarion about what just happened.
I'm not surprised that the Gith's insane.
That's a bizarre change of subject, Astarion. Let's focus on what's important right now. We just killed this guy who was after you.
Not anymore. Which is all that matters, really. I didn't do anything.
Alright, and that's a lie. He
Just like you.
did a lot of things that would make the Gur hate him.
Cazador wants me back. It was him, I'm sure. Only he would know to send the Gur after me. It was a group of Gur that attacked me that night in Baldur's Gate. I would have died had Cazador not appeared and saved me. Well, he didn't...
You really should have known. This is one of the most known, like, basic fundamental things about undead in any kind of D&D universe. It's like the spawn are always slaves of the ones that created them.
It's a message.
But Astarion is just kind of canonically an idiot, so...
Me of his power. Even in the middle of
I think he's also kind of wrong and just self-centered about this, thinking that it's all about him, when Cazador doesn't really mention anything about sending a message. I think Cazador just kind of has Gur at his command and sent them for that reason, because it's just they're convenient and that's what he's got. He also had no idea that Astarion was out here in the middle of nowhere. Astarion just kind of assumes that he knows about that. This is just blind luck on the part of Gandra, or blind bad luck, as it were.
Maybe he wants to make an example of me, to show what happens to runaways.
That makes more sense with free-willed slaves, rather than ones that are totally under mind control. Now, sometimes he'll laugh at the idea of safety, but sometimes he doesn't. Don't know why.
Keep our wits about us, and kill any monster hunters on sight.
Well, Dagger Root is a good item. Let's be harvesting that wherever it's possible for more oil of accuracy. Garlic for vampires, I guess. Doesn't affect Astarion at all. We can feed him as much garlic as we want. This weapon is one that gets kind of a fair amount of hype for the same reason that all the ones that give advantage against monstrosities are, you know, praised by some people. Monstrosities are pretty common in the early game, but, you know, advantage is easy to come by, and this would take up both your, you know, hand crossbow slots, so I'd say it's not really worth it.
Moving in.
Alright, on to the Hag's Lair itself. This is one of my favorite sections of the game, I would say. Very atmospheric, lots of build-up, some interesting traps outside at least, like this one. If you're still haven't seen through the illusion, you might drink from this well.
A great deal
Although,
of it.
it'd be weird to get this far without seeing through the illusion, I would think. I think the side entrance is advantageous to us, so let's take that. Shovel might struggle to come up here, so let's just have Shovel run around.
Looking ahead.
And then I think we want to ungroup Astarion at the very least.
What now?
And, I don't know, have him stay over to the side here or something like that. Basically, we want people to be able to position where we want them to, rather than be pulled into the fight.
Never mind. Walk in death.
Or rather, be pulled into the conversation. So, here's Marina, who we're here to help, because we heard that the Hag had her a long time ago, but we had too many other priorities to deal with at that time. Like, more people needed saving. So here's the Hag torturing her for no reason.
Don't Make me get.
Other than just the hags are just pure evil and just enjoy spitefully hurting people, so she's
So get
threatening to beat her with a spoon or making her eat rotten food, which will, you know, hurt her health and that of her baby. But the hag doesn't care about that, she just wants to eat the baby alive.
come in. Feel free to relax yourself and have a cuppa.
Her saying we took forever to get here is pretty funny now, because it actually is true. Just say that regardless, but it has been like 20 episodes since we last saw her, so...
Eat up, Mayrina. I won't say it again.
We can buy from her if we want to. Does she have anything good? Not this time, really. Okay. Now, picking this is only a bad idea. The hag will attack us if we do it, but for my challenge, I want to do all the fights in the game, even if they are kind of pointless, so I'll do this one.
Keep that hole under your nose shut, or things will get messy.
Well, you heard the lady.
Oh, you're in this conversation? Darn, I wanted to be able to move around.
What is it? What's going on?
Let me just check, are you... No, he's still able to move, okay. Don't know why he had that response then. Let's get him up onto the high ground here. And then we'll do the smart thing, I think, and prepare for this fight by using an Oil of Accuracy. You know what? Might not actually need that. Maybe we won't do that. It's not that hard to fight her here compared to in her lair later on, which we'll also be doing. This is bugged, as we'll see. She's going to respond like this twice. And it's just, it's the opposite of what you just said. We just said that they are not dead. Now she'll say twice if they are dead, which I think just shows this is not intended, and they'll probably fix this at some patch, but for now, it's pretty silly.
Everyone's dead.
Been like this for a while, too.
Enough, away with you. Blessed silence at last. Some time in the cage should do her good. And you'll regret sticking your nose in my business.
And I guess we just very politely wait for her to transform instead of just beating her to death with all our various sticks and sharp implements. Alright, now even here in this room where she's pretty weak, Auntie Ethel is not to be taken lightly. We beat her in initiative, because we do have good initiative, but she has alertness, so it's not trivial to beat her. This legendary action doesn't apply here, but it will matter a lot later on. Now, the important thing is, we don't want to kill her here, or we can never get her hag hair, which is a really good item, and also can't get to her quest line in Act 3, so we want to avoid that too. We want to injure her enough that she runs away. But, although she used to run away immediately if you injured her a lot, in my experience now that's not the case anymore. She will always fight this first round and retreat only in the second round. So, the main thing we want to do is damage her, not kill her, and don't give her a good target to do her throw, you know, acid bombs and stuff like that at.
There's blood in here.
So we want to give ourselves advantage against her if we can, I think. Let's see, who's the best person to do that? Might be you. If you throw maybe a spike bulb, that should auto-bleed her. Even if it misses her, it doesn't matter, it still bleeds her. Nice. Now we have advantage because of Bual's benediction. One thing I have tried is doing things like darkness arrows to see if you can cover people in those, but she can still throw her fire bombs and slime bombs at you no matter what. She kind of cheats to do that, so don't waste your time. We've really done a lot of damage to her fast here. She's pretty vulnerable in this room, as I've said before.
Over here.
So, if I get behind this pillar, she might waste her time throwing at the pillar itself. Maybe.
My feet.
Don't want to kill her, so don't want to do too much damage here. Maybe I'll then walk over here and hide and see how she responds to that.
A whisper.
Swift and lethal.
Bane on her is maybe nice. Probably won't matter, but maybe nice.
Tactical.
Let's just run over here then. And for you, let's have you just run over there and hide, maybe. We don't want her taking damage because her temporary hit points are kind of the most permanent, as it were, since they power up her druid abilities.
Let's cut your fire, baby.
Alright, so what will she do? She'll probably throw a bomb at Astarion. No, Vicious Mockery, okay. Oh, he made a saving throw, that's nice. But yeah, she can do Vicious Mockery as a bonus action somehow or other. And she does massive damage to that slime ball. It does not, or the fireball, it does not add up. Like, she just did, 12 or 13 damage there, I think. But I don't know how, because there should only have been like one instance of burning, I think, and also the initial blast there. Odd. Well, the birds can't put that out, so, you know, whatever. Well, she's almost dead, so if we just damage her a little bit now, she will run away, I'm sure.
I'll catch a break.
We just want to avoid actually killing her. Let's have you run over like here, and then maybe Laezel can put out the fire. And with that, we'll call it good, and she should run away at this point. Alright, so the real fight will be coming up. Let me check how long this video has been. It might be a good idea to just stop hereabouts and continue next time if it's been too long. Thank you for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Macy3131, Frank Maidens, Master Knight DH, Jackie and Lino, George Grin, Travis, Carlo Andrea 97, Cthulhu's Mom, Gregory, William Wakefield, Danny Hall, Jeffrey Morse, Just Becca, Jack, Austin Livingston, Mashas01, Jacob Marshall, Nubiana, Till Fisher, Latinx Discord Colossus, Nicholas Schmuck, Kostya Nasarovich, Luke, Frederick Brune, Goman Blackrock, Dodo King 4, Marcin Bialek, Maveth, Techno Waffle, Nebular, I Loop, Michael Francis, Emperor Kong 420, Robert Maki, Mick and Balls, Daniel Sedachikato, and Stilgen Flamey. Have a great day, everyone.